Hello. If you have a tent which allows you to double pole, such as a Fjallraven or a hilleberg, and I'm sure there are others, this may well be the video for you, particularly if you've found the price of a second set of poles quite extortionate, as I have. So I recently changed my 4-season tent from a hilleberg solo to a Fjallraven Abisco Lite 2, which is a fantastic tent, and it just gives me a little bit more space. But I wanted to double pole it. It comes with 9mm aluminium poles, which are really strong and appear robust, but I do go into some extreme weather sometimes, and I just wanted to be really sure. So I had a look on the Fjallraven site, and I also looked at a few of the shops that kind of stock their stuff, and the price of the second sets of poles were absolutely extortionate. I mean, you were talking over £100 for, you know, 2 aluminium tent poles. So I thought, nah, I can't justify paying that sort of money. So after a little bit of kind of research and a little bit of reading, I decided to look at a pocket friendly alternative, and the purpose of this video really is to tell you how I managed to save an awful lot of money by creating a set of what I think are really good quality aluminium 8mm poles to allow me to double pole my Fjallraven Abisco Lite 2. Now, you can use these poles on whatever tent you want, really, as long as it takes double poling. So if you own a hilleberg or whatever and it lets you double pole and you want a pocket friendly way of doing it, then you may find this video quite interesting, because I managed to create a double pole system for my 4-season tent for around about £30. So here's how I did it. So here are the stock Fjallraven poles that I got with my tent, which are really good quality. They're 9mm DAC poles, and they're colour coded red and gold with the corresponding colours on each pole sleeve, and they're great and they're really strong. But as I say, I wanted to create a double pole system, so I had a little look on Amazon and I found myself some Chinese 8mm aluminium poles. Now, they're not DAC, and I would say that they're very similar to poles I've got with a nature hike tent in the past. Pretty much the same poles, I think. Now what I did was I measured my poles on the Fjallraven, and they didn't match up exactly with the pole lengths from Amazon, but I could buy slightly longer poles, and that's exactly what I did. I bought a set of 2 poles for £30 UK. They were slightly longer than the poles that I have with the Fjallraven, and my plan was to shorten the poles. So how did I do that? So let's just start by comparing these poles side to side, and as you can see, the 9mm are visibly thicker, and so they're obviously going to be stronger than these Chinese poles from Amazon. But they're still decent quality pole. They're aluminium, they're shock corded, locked together nicely. Very happy with them, and I'd happily use them during the summer on their own. So quite simply, I measured the new poles and I measured them again to check, and I decided I needed to cut them to the same length as the Fjallraven pole. And to do that, I didn't just pick up a hacksaw and cut. What I actually did was I bought this, which is an 8mm pipe cutter, and it cuts aluminium and copper pipes. So I'm just going to demonstrate how I use this 8mm pipe cutter to cut this tent pole to size. This is a scrap piece of pole that I've got left over from when I sized the poles I bought. And the first thing I do is I fit it in, if you can see, fit it into the jaws of the cutter. But then you screw this in. Now, if you look, you can see there's a small round blade here, which is actually clamping the pole. All you do is you tighten that up to being hand tight. It's hand tight, and then you rotate the cutter a few times so that it scores into the pipe. Give it another little bit of a turn, and again you rotate it. Basically, the way I do it, I keep it on turning until it becomes nice and easy. And I'll tighten a bit so there's some more resistance, and then I'll turn this again and I'll keep spinning it until there's hardly any resistance, like that. Tighten it a touch more, and there we are. And there's the piece of waste, and there is the end of the nice clean cut on the pole. Now once that's done, you then have to think about the ends of your pole. So if you look at the end on the Fjallraven pole, it's nice and smooth. It's got a nice and smooth end. And if you look on my second set again, it's got a nice and smooth end. But when I purchased it, it actually had a sort of nipple on the end of that, which protruded about that far. Now, I suspect strongly I could have used the poles still with that kind of small nipple on the end, for want of a better word, but I wanted to make it match the poles. So what I did, I got some sharp pliers and I literally just put it on the piece at the end and I cut it off, and it came off nice and smooth. I got a little bit of sandpaper and I just smoothed that off, and that gave me the same end cap as this. The end cap is shock corded, so I took it off, undid the shock cord, did my little bit of cutting. I'd already taken it off to cut the pipe, tied it back onto the shock cord, just ease it back into the pole like that, and that's that. So once I'd cut it down to size, I'd reattached the end onto the shock pole, pushed that back in. I've got my poles to the right length, nice diameter at 8mm, kind of going to create a lot more strength for my tent. I then wanted to make sure that I could kind of use them quite easily because they're not colour coded. So what I did, I bought myself some cable shrink wrap, which is here, and I just put a piece of this shrink wrap on the end of the poles, each end. I mean, you can put as many as you want on. I got a hairdryer on it, shrunk it down to size so it's nice and firm, it's not going anywhere. And I also got the same with the red, and I did it to my pole that corresponds with the red poles, and that was it. That was all it took to do this. It was really, really easy, with a total cost of, with the pipe cutter, with the shrink wrap, about £35 all told. Now I've used the tent now in some really rough weather, and I've used it in some very strong gale force winds. I've been in a blizzard, in the snow. The aluminium didn't become brittle in the cold, and it stood up to the wind really well, double poled. I mean, there was no flex even, really. It was so strong. I was surprised. It was far stronger than the poles on my hilleberg, for instance, which aren't double poled though. I was just using a single. Now, if you want to give this a try, I'd thoroughly recommend it. It works a treat. I'll leave links in the description in this video to Amazon, so you can find the poles, the equipment you need, and give it a go. You'll be able to take your tent into much stronger winds pole wise. Obviously I can't speak for the strength of the winds against the poles, but much stronger, and I'm very, very pleased with the hack. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, I've got loads of equipment reviews and adventures on the channel, so if you'd like to subscribe, I'd be really grateful. And if you would comment and like, I always answer comments. You take care, and I'll see you very soon out on the hills. Bye now.